one-way fighting.
Hello, you're free to one-way fighting with Neill Smith and Ashley King. How you doing, Ashley, mate? You all right?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Same old, lad, same old. So,
Yeah.
Easter weekend, not much happens. And then we've got the big news coming up for the Darren Till, Marvin Vettori fights now. Kevin Holland, Marvin Vettori. What do you reckon of that?
So, obviously, gutted that the fight didn't happen and Darren Till obviously got injured. Gutted about that, to be honest. But up comes Kevin Holland, who has the chance to, number one, redeem himself, erase the last fight, silence all the critics. It's a perfect scenario for him, to be honest. Just needs to seize it. So I'd say, so going into this one, if we talk about kind of, the whole, who do we think's going to win? What do we think's going to happen? I think a lot of the speculation that I've personally seen is what Kevin Holland is going to show up. Is it the guy who's going to take it seriously, or is the guy who's just going to play around? So if we take it, if I do kind of, okay, this is Kevin Holland at his best. If we just analyze it from that point of view, still a tough fight. It's still a fight that I see it being a struggle, to be honest. I just think Marvin's so underrated, mate. I really do. So for me personally, if we're going to make a prediction, I'm going to say Marvin. I'm going to go with him.
I want to say Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland. I seen that, mate, on the website. I seen the article on the website. It was a good article. If he's haven't read it, everyone, go on the go on the website. Have a look.
ONEWayFighting.com. Mate, you know what, right? What Kevin Holland turns up, does it matter? Derek Brunson had a plan, followed it through. You look at the Jacare fight. I mean, he looked more active in the Jacare fight than he did against Derek Brunson. But I mean, Jacare Souza was in his full guard, and he's talking to him saying, I had a dream about this, you being in my guard or something like that. And then off his back, just bingos him. I mean, he's got them long limbs. And I watched back the Hermanson fight with Vettori. He's good. He is good.
He is good.
But he's a bit... He could have stopped that fight a couple of times. He had that southpaw stance. He hit him with a straight left. But Hermanson was slipping out to the right every time and could have got caught with the cross. I just felt like he could have capitalised a bit more. When it went to the ground, he was going more for position than he was to, sort of attack any subs or anything like that. I think he was just trying... A couple of times he passed into half guard and that, and he just didn't look that active on the ground. He wanted to go for the ground and pounds.
Yeah.
He was competent on the ground. I don't think that's going to be a huge worry for him like Derek Brunson was. And he's just got them big limbs. He throws these wild blows. He throws knees. He throws kicks. He throws elbows from standing. Buckley, he fucking bingoed Buckley twice in that fight, didn't he?
Yeah.
I just feel like he's going to be doing it on the night. And like you say, I've seen mixed stuff. He come off the Ariel Hawani show, didn't he? And he looks like he's a bit more serious. He's calling himself the Trailblazer instead of the Clown or whatever he calls himself.
Like his alter ego.
Yeah. I think Kevin Holland's going to do him.
Could well do, mate. I mean, could well do. I mean, if you look at his track record, mate, as you said, he's unbelievable with the KOs that he's had. I just think again, if we talk about the Kevin Holland that shows up, forget the Kevin Holland in the last fight. Take the Kevin Holland who shows up and wants to win, he's determined and everything. I'm talking about that guy, and I still think it's going to be a tough fight for him. I really do. I think Marvin. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's never been finished before. Never been finished. Went to a split decision with Adesanya.
He's 16 and 3.
16-3. I think he's only lost fights by decision. Never been finished. He's had tough fights as well. It's not like he's fought nobodies. That fight that he had against Jack Hansen, I'm sure he was a replacement fighter. I think Jack was meant to fight someone else, and then Kevin Holland stepped in on short notice. I'm sure it was.
You mean
Vettori? Yeah. Marvin Vettori. I'm sure he stepped in on short notice to fight Jack. So I'm a bit like, he's obviously kind of, stepped up and everything like that, won that fight. Like, he's a tough fighter, so I think it's going to be difficult for Kevin Holland. I really do.
Yeah, I think the southpaw sort of stance might be a bit of a sort of thing to get his head round, but he's very. You see that fight, he just looked very reserved in what he was doing. He could have capitalised a bit more on the face knockdown on Manson. Yeah, I just didn't get that feeling. I just see Kevin Holland's just explosive enough to just stop him. Whereas Vettori, he is a little powerhouse. Like, he's a stocky little fella, and he's got some power in them hands. That straight left looked like it barely touched him, but on replay, slow motion, it was like quite heavy.
Yeah,
I just see, not like John Jones, but that unpredictability that John Jones used to have, where he'd throw stuff from here, there, and everywhere. And I just see Kevin Holland's got that in spades. And I think that sort of calm, reserved sort of style that he's got, he's a little bit static. I think, I think he's going to take him.
Do you think he'll finish it there?
Yeah, I think he will, yeah.
What round, call it? What round?
I'm going to say early on, like the second.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say... Go on.
No, I was going to say he's got those long limbs, and they just come in and just... The one thing I noticed about Vettori was he kept his distance quite well, and I'm not sure if that was Hermansson being a bit sort of gauging his distance because obviously he's southpaw and he didn't want to get caught.
Yeah.
But when he hit Buckley twice with that straight right, I mean, his arms just seemed to go on forever. He just caught him from distance, and Buckley didn't seem to realise. I think he realised he gauged distance, but just didn't realise he gauged it wrong.
Yeah. It's a good shout, to be fair. It's a good shout. And as I said, mate, Kevin Holland, I'm pretty sure he would be the favourite coming into this. I don't know if he is or not. I just think Marvin, he's got the fundamentals to win him by decision. I think it's going to go to a decision, and I think Marvin's going to. I think he's going to use his wrestling a lot as well. I think he's probably going to go from the Derek Brunson fight and be like, well, that's the game plan right there. Let's go with that. I think it's going to be a decision win. But either way, mate, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, his ground and pound Vettori that he threw in the Hermansson fight was quite good. He just sort of had those sorts of trying to drop those short elbows and short strikes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be concussive enough unless he cuts him and gets a stoppage that way on Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland in the Sousa fight throwing all them elbows, and he was active from the bottom in the Brunson fight.
Yeah.
I think if you're just fighting for position to get ground and pounds, you take damage from top when you're on top with Kevin Holland. And he's not anywhere near the pedigree of Derek Brunson in terms of being able to keep someone on the ground, I don't think.
Yeah, and what you said there, like, we've learned Kevin Holland can KO people from his back. Like, and his submission games as well, he was throwing up submissions and stuff like that. So in no way, shape or form is this going to be easy. This is what I'm saying. This is going to be, my opinion, fight of the night. But if for a prediction, I'm still going to go with Marvin by decision. I think it's a tough fight, but I think he grinds out a nice little decision. If he does win, do you think Adesanya's next for him? Do you think they do the rematch, or
if Vettori wins?
Yeah.
He was supposed to fight the winner of him and Till, wasn't he?
So this is what I get a little bit confused about, because it was kind of like Adesanya's essentially called out Till. He's like, Till, if you win this one fight, like I want to fight you next. So Till was in a brilliant situation because he is essentially coming off a loss. He's coming off a loss from Robert Whittaker. So it's quite rare that you just need to have one more fight and win that one, and then you fight for the title. So quite a lucky situation for him, to be honest. So obviously Darren Till's out. I don't know when he's going to come back. So
a broken collarbone, mate.
Yeah,
broken collarbone. It's going to be a while.
Going to be a while. So I think whoever wins this fight, I mean, even Kevin Holland, obviously, if Kevin Holland wins this and he wins this impressively, then absolutely, easily right there for a title shot. I just don't know what's next, for the title picture. Don't know what they're going to do.
Do you think they're going to be dead eager to a decision? Well, he could knock Kevin Holland out. He could sub him. He could do anything, ground and pound, whatever. But if Vettori wins, I could maybe see it being sort of decision or going the distance in TKO maybe or something. It's not going to be an exciting fight to make, is it, Vettori and Adesanya?
I suppose from that fight, the narrative would be, obviously the first fight was a split decision. It was a tough fight for Adesanya. So I suppose you can have the narrative of, this is the rematch, how it's going to be different. I'm actually thinking of the middleweight picture, and I'm like, who else is there? Like, Robert Whittaker. To be fair, you could have Robert Whittaker fighting him. But I feel like Robert Whittaker is like, he needs a rematch, mate. I just don't think it's quite fair. Like, he beat, what's his name?
Yo.
No, Cormier.
Cannonier.
Jared Cannonier. So he beats him. Obviously, he beats Darren Till. Like, beats two top people. I think he deserves that rematch. I think, I've just obviously been speaking about Marvin there, but like, obviously forgot about Whittaker. Like, I feel like you need to have the rematch next, Whittaker. I really do.
I feel like even if they don't go for the title shot and Adesanya has some time, I think Whittaker runs through Vettori easily enough as well.
Yeah, I think he beats him. He's fighting. You know what? He's fighting Calvin Gastelum. I've just remembered then. Robert Whittaker versus Calvin Gastelum. That is April, day before my birthday, 17th of April on the Saturday. That's a throw that in there, everyone. I'll be honest on that one. That's a tough one because when they was originally meant to fight, Gastelum was meant to fight for the belt, so Whittaker was champion at this point. And I made a prediction. I said Calvin Gastelum by KO. I don't know what it was, but I thought he could KO Whittaker. That was then. Obviously, a lot's changed since then. Now, I'm a bit fringy. I'm a bit like, I don't know. I think Whittaker's improved a lot since then, to be honest. I really do. Just in his wins against Till and Jared Cannonier, I think he just showed like a lot more patience, and I don't know. It's like a new Whittaker. I really do.
Yeah, Mace, like I say, they've always been quite close. I mean, he's been dropped once or twice, but he's one of them, Whittaker. He's nails, isn't he? Like, he puts it all in there.
Yeah, he's so good. Like, do you remember him on the Ultimate Fighter? Is it the Ultimate Fighter Smashers?
Yeah. So
aggressive, like, wasn't he? So
Smashers was the one that had Brendan Luffman in, was it?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, it was UK. It was the Ashes, wasn't it? The UK and Australia. I remember it now. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. But like, just how like aggressive he was. Like, I honestly love watching a Whittaker fight. But I feel like, I don't know, since the Adesanya fight, he's like, he's still got that intensity, but like, he's just a bit more controlled, I think. I don't know, just a bit more relaxed with it. Like, him and that Adesanya fight was a bit strange because he was just all out, just swinging. And I think he was obviously getting it from the Calvin Gastelum fight, where Gastelum was kind of having success, kind of lunging in. So I think he tried to kind of have that same game plan, but Adesanya was just onto it. But yeah, I think they should have that rematch next. And obviously, I don't know what's happening with COVID and everything, but like it would be good if they could have that again in Australia, same as the first one, because that first fight was incredible. Like the crowd was just unbelievable. Adesanya's his entrance, unbelievable. Like how confident.
So
was
one where he
to
did
do
all
that?
the dance and all that.
Yeah, the confidence, mate, and he pulled it off as well. He pulled it off like
Yeah,
that was pretty good, to be fair.
you'll never beat Michael Venom Page when he cracked Cyborg Santos's head, and then he threw the Pokeball. Like he just caught
so
him.
he catch them all. Yeah, Michael Venom Page, mate. Who's he fighting next? Do you know?
Knows, mate. He needs to leave
He's
Bellator, I reckon.
I agree. I feel like he needs to leave it or fight the big names again, because he got knocked out, didn't he, against Douglas Lima? And then the next big fight after that, was it not Paul Daly? I think he fought. Was it Paul? Did he fight Paul Daly after that?
Did he fight Paul Daly?
Yeah, he beat him by decision. Believe it or not, he used his wrestling. He actually out-grappled him. Takedowns.
Did he?
Yeah.
I've done a few sessions with Paul Daly about 10 years ago, and his whole thing was just just take down defense. He does work ground game, but he just said just take down defense, take down defense, take down defense. If you watch the James Bray podcast, he was there at some of the sessions we did, and he was talking about the same thing with us. But his stand-ups just all he works. Like if you can manage to get him to the floor, then
yeah,
you know. We didn't do enough ground game for me to see anything of it, but he was literally like, why bother learning the ground game? I can just do takedown defense and just be that competent at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that, like old school fighters like that. Like Rampage Jackson was like that. Just didn't train jiu-jitsu, didn't train it.
Didn't train though, did he? He said he hated it.
Yeah. He says like he's got like bad knees and stuff, so he couldn't be bothered with the wrestling aspect as well. I'm like with an Easter moment, people used to take him down. It's like because people know your weakness.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He was an odd one, Rampage though. He had that punching power, and then just towards the end, it was just like, you know, when they say you should retire maybe a fight or two before, because it was just you know. But it's go ahead.
He got a bit like overweight, didn't he? Because he had the fight with Fedor, and he was in bad shape. Like just didn't look like he was training properly. And then he got KO'd against Fedor. And then I remember afterwards he put up a poster saying like how kind of ashamed he was at like his performance and everything like that. And he was like, you know, I kind of promise I'm going to get it back and stuff. And I don't know if he has. I don't think he's fought since, to be honest. Which is quite a shame. Like
I think sometimes they should just give it in. All these exhibition fights and stuff like that, they're either a bit of a mockery or they're going back in there and having a proper scrap where maybe they shouldn't.
Well, exhibition fights, mate. What do you think about Jake Paul and Ben Askren?
I've been watching some of it today. You know what I watched? I watched Ben Askren on that Ryan Garcia podcast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was a bit of an odd one because halfway through they were talking about Ryan Garcia doing stuff with Logan Paul. And by the way, Logan Paul looks shocking. Some of the stuff that Ryan Garcia was trying to go through it, and that Logan Paul just looked like he didn't want to know. You're a professional boxer, but I know best type thing. And Mayweather's going to have him in tatters. I mean, I knew that anyway. There was never a time I thought some kid off the street was just going to walk in and beat Mayweather, no matter how big they are.
That's the one. Sorry, yeah. So the older brother's fighting Mayweather, and the younger one is fighting Ben Askren. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm on it now. So just to clarify, like I don't really, not really into my YouTubers, so I don't really know a lot about them. But I've been kind of paying attention to this fight, obviously with the whole Ben Askren side of it.
Yeah.
What you probably already spoke about this before, Neil. To be fair, mate, but what is your kind of thoughts on it? Like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, do you think it's good for MMA, good for boxing?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them. I like the sort of hype and stuff around it and all that. It's good for boxing and stuff in terms of more eyes on the sport. I just feel for boxers training so hard and getting to where they are, and then just someone else headlining for a couple million, and they're just stuck, you know, where they are or whatever. And also that now they've got to add this extra thing to their game in order to get higher up the bill.
Yeah.
You know, but watching it, like Ben Askren did a funny thing. He did a Rocky IV montage. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen that. I love that, you know.
He's looking at the picture of Jake Paul and he's out there with the tree on his back and that. And he's got his beard in it.
I love that. Yeah,
yeah. I think like I just think Ben Askren's going to outmaneuver him for the first few rounds and then just pressure him. I don't think this kid's ever been in a proper fight.
Yeah.
I've watched the other ones he's done. The first kid was another YouTuber who just looked scared. I mean, he was doing all this rah, rah, like fucking shouting at the fucking camera and stuff like that, and then got in there and just looked like handshaking, which, you know, is understandable. Jake Paul picked someone who was half his fucking size to fight again. That Nate Robinson it just looked like American footy. He was just trying to tackle him. It wasn't boxing. He looked like he had bits and bobs that he'd learned, but not enough to go against a professional fighter, I didn't think.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like I get why he asked to fight Ben Askren. Well, he asked to fight Dylan Dennis first, wasn't it? I'm sure he tried to get the Dylan Dennis fight. For some reason that didn't happen. I don't know why. And then he got Ben Askren. I get why.
I think they just threw about 4 or 5 names out there of people that they'd pre-agreed. And Ben Askren just come back on social media just saying like, go on, I'll fight you. It's a bit of dough and you're not a fighter, so yeah. But they've chose everybody very specifically. They're they all are a lot smaller than Jake Paul. He's picked people that he can bully. And I think, you know, he's picked people who aren't necessarily capable in the boxing ring to make him look like the big man. I think there's 2 ways to go about combat sports in general, though. You pick people who are a challenge. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody has tune-up fights and takes fights that, you know, get them started out. But to pick, you know, like things that are absolutely perfect for you, he's not had a challenge yet, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, Ben Askren's a weird one, isn't it? Because, like, so MMA fans will know that obviously Ben Askren wasn't known for his striking. He just wasn't. It was his wrestling. So him now going into strictly a boxing fight, you know, you would think kind of the guy would have an advantage in the boxing. That was my first thought. And then I'll be honest, I started watching a lot of videos. So there's one with Colby Covington. He did one recently, and he said he was like, I think Ben Askren is gonna beat him. I think he's not coming for a boxing match. He's coming for a fight. I feel he comes out, he clinches, leans on him, just gets him tired, just outworks him, and then I think Colby was like later on then in the fight, with the other guys tired, he can take over and maybe try and finish him. But I don't. So like Ben Askren, it's quite hard to kind of get my head around it because he's not a powerful puncher. He's not, you know, wasn't known for his striking, but with the Olympic level mindset, and obviously he has been doing striking all, you know, since he started his MMA career. He just obviously relied on the wrestling, but you know, he obviously does know how to punch. And obviously, them videos that he puts out, I don't know if sometimes he just does it on purpose. Yeah. I don't know.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, you know, they've got a lot
to a fight. I'd be putting shit out on Facebook. Oh, I'm eating kebabs and popping pills and doing this and fucking off my head on the weekend. I'd be sat at home fucking doing extra press-ups or whatever after training. It's one of them, mate. But They surrounded them two brothers by people who blow smoke up their ass all day.
Yes, man.
I watched the thing. Ryan Garcia was just sort of running through a few basics with Logan Paul, and I know this is different. I don't know if they've got different camps for their fights or whatnot, but more than likely they're surrounded by the same types of people. And Ryan Garcia is off his size, and he's like leaning into him, and he's saying, you know, you've got to push off and use your weight to your advantage. You're bigger than Mayweather. That's where you're going to need to concentrate your efforts and bully him a bit. And he's like, well, why will I even need to do that? You won't get in that position. And like, he's fucking Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously separate fights. So that fight, the one with Mayweather. I mean, I don't even know if there's any point in talking about it because I'm like, clearly Mayweather. Like, I can't see there's not that conversation there.
Yeah, but the point was with that is not so much the fights. It's the a couple of weeks out from that fight, he's still not thinking about what he needs to be doing in there.
Yeah.
He's just got people sitting there blowing smoke up his ass saying, oh, aren't you clever? You've hit the punching bag. He was jabbing and then just dropping his hand. He wasn't even bringing his jab back. And I'm thinking, no one's come to you and said, you might want to pull that jab back to your chin because Mayweather will sort you out.
Yeah.
First round.
I mean, it says a lot. It says a lot about Mayweather for obviously wanting to do that fight, and I get it. It's just money. It's just pure money, and I completely get it. And it's a easy day for him. He's fighting a guy who's a YouTuber. He's not a boxer. You know, he lost their KSI, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's
did,
boxing. So now he's fighting Mayweather.
I watched the documentary on Amazon about that. I quite like that KSI kid. But the other thing I've noticed as well is all these people saying, Jake Paul, he's real, man. He's serious. He's this, that, and the other. Not fucking one of them are in the game. But actually, I've seen one guy who's like a YouTuber, but a boxer as well. He's said it, but he's also pushed towards that YouTuber side because he's one of them. But I've never seen one person who's like sort of like an ex-boxer or something like that say, because I can go down the local gym and hit the bag, bang, 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 and some people will think he knows what he's talking about, but I'm no fucking pro boxer.
Yeah.
People just see you hitting the bag, you're hitting it hard and it's moving and you're doing some sort of combination. Doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean shit. The bag doesn't hit back.
What do you think about George Masvidal training him as well? The guy who's fighting Ben Askren, George Masvidal is training him, isn't he? Or he's in the same training camp, like. Kind of, I don't know, a bit of a bad light on George Masvidal, that I reckon, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the training aspect, though, Jorge's got hands, hasn't he?
But that's the thing, like, what do you, I mean, do you reckon he's just doing it because he's fighting Ben Askren? So obviously, that's the only reason why they've kind of come together, or? I just thought that was a bit of a weird mismatch. I don't know. I was a bit like, why is George Masvidal hanging around with this YouTuber? I don't know. Because I do feel like, I'm not going to lie, this is kind of the whole, is it not boxing versus MMA? And then you'll have your typical, I don't even know if the boxers are going to be on the other guy's side, because they'll probably just be like, he's not a boxer, he's a YouTuber. So I don't know. I think a lot of people kind of want Ben Askren to win on this one.
Yeah, no, and the other thing is, Teddy Atlas was saying it when McGregor fought Mayweather. He was like, he's won a few rounds. Now, whether Mayweather gave him them rounds or whether McGregor won those rounds, you never know. Mayweather sometimes starts off slow. So, you know, and McGregor was, you know, a high-level striker at MMA. He had to change a few things. Obviously, it's not the same as boxing. I'll tell you this now, right? You put a boxer in with someone in MMA in your local MMA gym and you tell them just to go hands only, and they are not getting touched. If it's a decent level boxer, just because the hand speed is so much quicker and their guard is so much different. Yeah, your natural MMA stance tends to be you're not giving your front leg forward because you've got to worry about kicks and takedowns. So you're a bit more open in the body. You're more susceptible to body shots. And they tend to have looser hands.
Yeah. Well, this argument, I mean, this has been going on for like years, but it's always pretty much answered. I mean, when James Toney for Randy Couture. That was like one of the first big kind of crossover ones, and easy. Randy Couture just took him down, submitted him. It was easy.
He wasn't the best
But then
boxer
I
in the
do
world, though,
understand
was he?
now. Wasn't, and obviously for Randy Couture as well, who was like known for his grappling. So
The man.
proper mismatch.
His name means
Um,
horny furniture.
But yeah, Chloe
Horny
said-
clothes also. Couture's like clothes, isn't it? Horny
Oh, it
clothes.
is, yeah.
Randy
It is.
Couture, he's just a legend.
I fucking love him. But then, and then you from the other standpoint as well, to obviously make it fair for kind of both sides, you'll have boxing fans coming over and say, when Tim Sylvia fought, was it Ray Mercer? Ray Mercer KO'd him. That was in an MMA fight. It was one of them. It was like, again, anything can happen. Like, but the narrative is always kind of in an MMA fight, the MMA fighter will win. In a boxing fight, the boxer will win. It's
Yeah,
like,
and Tim
you just know
Sylvia
that,
was
don't you?
sort of very, well, not early MMA, but we're talking like 2000 to 2005 was sort of the decline of his career.
Yeah,
Well, he went on for longer than that, didn't he?
he did. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was like an overhand right. It was basically just kind of like, I don't know. But it was obviously like Tim Sylvia chose to stand with him, and you are fighting a boxer, so that's what happens. I think
Tim
obviously for
Sylvia
this
as
fight,
well, though. Do you ever remember him knocking people out with head kicks or heavy on the leg kicks or anything like that? He was always very much just, he reminded me of just like Tank Abbott, just like, I'm going to go in and haymake you.
yeah.
He wasn't the most
But-
technical.
No, he still won fights though. I mean, go back and watch the
Heavyweight champ.
Yeah, heavyweight champ. Had a really good record, like within the UFC and stuff like that. But it's just that narrative, though, isn't it? It's like when Conor McGregor fought Mayweather. I mean, that was like the biggest one in my opinion. Like, but it was just a bit different. It was like in no way, shape, or form that I ever think McGregor would beat Mayweather. I didn't, but I do remember saying at the time, I was like, I do think it's going to be a tougher fight than what people imagine. There was bets you could do of like does McGregor land the punch, and there was bets on it and stuff saying that he doesn't. Like, it was that like kind of one-sided. And we seen what happened. He did 1 rounds against him. He did catch him with a few nice punches, caught him with an uppercut at one point. It was a good fight up until it lasted, but the inevitable happened, of course. The plan was for Mayweather to get McGregor tired, and then obviously turn it on in the later rounds. And he did exactly that.
The danger
with
McGregor was, though, mate, was even with the slightly bigger gloves, he just needed to catch him once. Like, just his power. I mean, people say what they want about McGregor. He was putting people asleep.
Yeah.
Like, fucking powerful punches, mate. And he needed to catch Mayweather once. And there was always that thing that you can't touch Mayweather, you can't touch Mayweather. I mean, like, the amount of people that have been in there with him and just being high level. I mean, Canelo was young, but I mean, Canelo, who's now the top echelon, he even had troubles, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
if he did get that one punch, though, you would always sort of like, he's a bigger guy as well. It's not really like they were exactly the same sort of weight class to start with. He looked physically bigger than him in there. And that was the main worry for boxing fans. But yeah, I mean, it was always, I think Mayweather was like 50-1 at one point or something like that.
Heavy favorite, yeah. I mean, and with this one, with that Logan Paul, is it the one that's fighting Mayweather? Is that Logan Paul? Yeah. I think with that fight, I mean, I just don't see a situation where Mayweather loses that fight. The only way he loses that fight is if he gets caught, and that is the only. It's just a puncher's chance. That's the only way he'll lose. So I'm not really that interested, to be honest, in that fight. But the Ben Askren one, I'm interested because I'm a bit like, I generally don't know. Like, I don't know what could happen, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what the worrying thing about that Logan Paul one is, mate, is the same as the Jake Paul now for me. I mean, Jake Paul's going out, he seems a bit more serious, but after watching that footage, he went in and they were all like, yeah, well, do you want to get in the ring and spar Ryan Garcia? And then as soon as they did, this little message comes up and says, this footage is redacted because we're not giving away any things. And you sort of see Ryan Garcia going for an overhand right, and all he's doing is stepping back. And I just thought, you're either just in it for the money and the money alone, or you're shitting yourself right now because Mayweather is going to just do things to you that like prison things. He's going to treat you like a prison.
I think it's both. I think 100% it's money, obviously, from both sides of it. Yeah, I said it baffles me why Mayweather kind of took the fight, to be honest, because I'm just a bit like, I don't know, like it's just money, but like, just
first name's money.
I just don't think there's any interest to it though. Like, no one's. I mean, the only fight that people are talking about is the Ben Askren one. I don't think really anyone's talking about the Mayweather fight, to be quite honest.
They will be though, and it all depends on if Jake Paul manages to pull a win against Ben Askren or put up a fight. Because the thing is, Ben Askren's not likely to knock him out in the first 2 or 3 rounds. So they're all going to be like, he's basically got a win-win there, because you go, well, this guy was unbeaten for a decade and I went 7 rounds with him, or 8 rounds if it goes to decision. And then everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, he's not so bad. It's only his 3rd fight, and it's the first time he's fought an actual fighter. So,
yeah. I feel like, though, if... what's his name? So, it's not Paul Logan. What's the younger brother's name?
Logan Paul. Jake Paul, innit?
Jake Paul, I feel like with him, though, if he does beat Ben Askren, it's like, what's next? I feel like you're probably going to see, like, other UFC fighters be like, I want that fight now. Like, I want to try and redeem it back for like MMA and stuff. So he is in a boss situation. Maybe he gets Dylan Dennis, I don't know.
No, feed him someone who'll just kill him. Just get it over with.
But it's up to him. I mean, he's the one that's probably going to be calling the shots if he does win that fight, though, because he'd be like, he uses sense. He's like, well, I'm not going to fight any kind of, I want to fight like celebrities and stuff.
If I was a top level fighter, I'd be pissed off if he was calling me out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be bothering with this payday and all that. I'll go, what are you offering me? 50 million? Give me 1 million and meet me in the car park in 20 minutes. That's the thing,
no, but that's the thing. Like, he wouldn't accept fights like that. And like, with the type of route that he's going down, if he wins this fight, he's gonna be the A side, because people are gonna kind of, I do think MMA fighters like Dustin Poirier, he's kind of called them out, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he did. Yeah,
there's a few guys who they're probably going to step forward, like, and I don't know.
What is he doing though? I mean, I actually respect Jake Paul for the fact that he's getting all these views and stuff, and he's making money. Fair enough, but what an absolute helmet! If you're not from Liverpool, helmet means idiot. But he's pulling up outside Dylan Dennis's thing, throwing burgers at him, talking to his mates, going, aren't we funny? We threw burgers at him. Shut up. How old are you?
What did you think of the press conference? Do you know the press conference where they went for the stare down, and then Ben Askren just put his hand on his face and turned away?
And he tickled him.
And then, Jake got in like a little body shot. I feel like Ben Askren handled that really well, to be honest. Like, in that press conference, even when the phone call was made to George Masvidal, I feel like Ben Askren handled it perfect. Just did exactly what you should do. Don't rise to it. Literally just play it off. And I don't know, was kind of impressed by him. But I like Ben Askren, to be honest. Like, I liked him when he was in ONE FC and then he moved over to the UFC. And I always liked him, to be fair.
You know what though? That whole thing with George Masvidal, that's a coward. That's a coward there, getting your mates involved. That's like when you get in a fight in the street and they say, do you know who I am? Do you know who my brother is? Do you know where I'm from? Don't give a shit. I'm going to call my mate and he's going to upset you. This is me and you. This is me and you. End of. Don't be bringing anyone else into it. You got anything to say it yourself, you little prick. That's what I would say.
but that's where Ben Askren took just handled it so well though, just didn't rise to it and everything. And then he kind of on Twitter and stuff. I think he just had enough. To be fair, he was just kind of like, I'm sick of this. Like George Masvidal, like what? You KO'd me in 5 seconds, but he was like, it was just a once in a lifetime. Like it wouldn't happen again type thing. I think he just had a bit of enough, and he was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna fucking answer back now and stuff. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to watching that fight. To be honest, I'm not really into boxing, but I'd watch that definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna get me knickers in a twist over it, but like I say, it's got me talking about it, and fair play to them both. Like, I like Ben Askren. I wouldn't say I like Jake Paul, but I can see what he's doing.
Same, mate. Don't like him, but yeah, can see what he's doing. Get it? Just wants a paycheck. I get it. Yeah,
it is interesting though. I don't dislike him either. Do you remember Craig and Work?
Craig. Oh yeah.
So
Ralph, yeah.
he used to say, what was he used to say? I don't know why everyone hates Justin Bieber. If I was 16 years old and had millions of pounds and was famous, I'd be banging birds left, right, and centre as well.
Well,
you must have the biggest prick on the face of the planet. And I kind of feel like that's the same situation with Jake Paul.
Yeah, no, as I said, mate, I get what he's doing, but I just don't like him. I just don't like him. There's a difference, I think, with him and his older brother. I actually like the older brother. And you mentioned KSI before.
Yeah.
I actually like KSI, the way he comes across.
Yeah, whereas, he seems all right. I'm not gonna buy his music or nothing, but
just seems normal.
Did you see the thing on Amazon Prime?
No.
It was about him fighting some other kids who just seemed like it was the worst pre-fight press conference. He says something to KSI, and then KSI says, "Yeah, well, you're popping pills for something," and he's got depression. He goes, "Are you saying stuff about mental illness? Are you saying stuff? I have got mental illness. You can't say things. You're saying things about people with depression." I thought, this is the worst kickoff I've ever seen. Yeah. Just hit him, you melt. Stop going on about depression like it's some sort of, you're upset. Yeah. It's a boxing fight. He's going to say things to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't mind KSI, but yeah, the other guy, I don't know what it is. I feel like it's just, I don't know. Yeah, obviously it's an acting. Like as I said, I do get what he's doing, but nah, just can't take to him. Just can't take to him.
Who? Which one?
The Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Can't take to him.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. He helps his nan carry the shopping home and all that, but
nah, he robs the mate.
Yeah, I 100% want Askren to win.
Yeah, I do, mate. 100%. And I think he will. I think from what, again, this is what other people have been saying, and it makes sense to me. Go out, clinch, make him tired, make him work, and then I don't see him finishing him, to be fair, but get a decision or something.
You know what? People are saying this, you can't fight dirty and stuff in boxing. Well, you can. It depends on who's the referee. When Mike Tyson bit off Evander Holyfield's ear, he bit his ear in part because he'd been headbutted by Holyfield about 4 or 5 times in that fight.
In that documentary, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all down to the referee, mate. So
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, Thunderdome, 2-man enter, 1-man leave. Just send them in. That's what it should be, lads.
Get them all on steroids and everything, all steadied off.
Well, I'd say that Jake Paul is, but he's not that big, is he? He's just sort of like muscular cut, isn't he?
It's hard to, and with the whole, because I get a bit confused, because I know obviously USADA's heavily in the UFC, but boxing's got USADA, hasn't it? Boxing's very strict with drug testing and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if it's down as a pro, they'll be testing them. I don't think you've got any problem with Askren. And he is quite muscular, that Jake Paul, but he doesn't look overblown. Like, he's got no water weight on him or nothing. if he's taken something that's very low level, I don't think he is. He doesn't look like
No,
he is.
I don't, to be fair.
Yeah.
No.
But he does look bigger than Askren, like.
Yeah. Well, I know obviously Askren's welterweight. What is Jake? Is he? Do you reckon he's probably like a middleweight?
I don't actually know what they're supposed to be fighting at. Are they doing a catch weight? Are they going to fight in weight? What?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a clue. You know, I'm guessing maybe like a catch weight, because boxing's the one where, like, I mean, what is it? Is it every? I think is every like £3? It's a new weight class, or
Couldn't tell you,
£5, or I don't know. Yeah, honestly, with boxing, I don't have a clue when it comes to the weight classes. Like, what the difference is.
I don't think it may be as little as £3, but I don't think it is, mate.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, I don't have a clue.
I used to be the worst, because whenever I used to corner people in the gym, you go, I've got to get down to 76, and I'd be like, I've just got to stay at heavyweight. I don't really give a shit.
Didn't have to lose any weight. No. Yeah.
No, I walk around at this, I train at this. I'm always training, so I was always at a weight, and I just thought, why bother trying to get down? I probably should have, because it'd have been huge at light heavyweight, like.
Yeah. Do you reckon he could have got to 205? Yeah.
I could get down to middleweight. It's just, I just never did. I just didn't want to. I had too much going on. I had a couple of businesses going on the side, to working as in the solicitors, and and then I was training people out at the gym as well. It was hard enough getting my own training in, never mind trying to sort the diet out.
Yeah.
I'd never got it done. Now I could. I don't know. See how I feel. Go back and it's what?
Neill, would you ever actually have another fight? Would you think about it? Like what would be the situation where you kind of commit yourself to that training? You know, like what would lay you back in?
I'll be honest with you, mate. I had a little sort of look at a few of the gyms around here and seeing people sparring and that, and I was just sort of like, the ones that are available, I was just sort of like, that's not good sparring for who is in there and that for a fight. But then again, if you're only fighting someone out of one of the other gyms, then you're running through them. I do think about it, mate, but I'm 37 now. You know, if I was to do it, I'd want to pack in about 4 fights in 2 years and then just give it up.
Yeah.
But I don't know how my body would keep up with that now. Like, have you seen this elbow here? Can you see it? Oh, can't do it.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not meant to look like that. So I've got 3 little chips of bone moving around there. I cracked my elbow. Fucking just nightmare, mate. And it shattered about a month ago. And I just carried on doing dips, press-ups, weights, hitting a few pads and stuff like that. And the more I do it, the more it just keeps swelling up with water on the elbow. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't ask me, but I think if I fought, I don't think I'd want to throw elbows or not, and I'd probably just
I was gonna say, just don't through your head, just don't through the elbows. Yeah.
Well, saying that, I think I'd go and do boxing or something. Probably, I don't know. If I'd gone in and put like 10 to 12 months together, or if I was 6 months in and just thought, I'm flying, I'm back to where I was, which I do tend to do. I've got an addictive personality. Like, if I go into something, I just tend to be all about that, and like I'll put off all the other stupid stuff like going out on the weekends. So I reckon I could get into good shape within 6 months. It's just whether my fight IQ got back to where it was. Because I remember, like, about 5 or 6 months ago, going back on the pads for the first time in about a year or two, and I was just sloppy. I mean, if you walked into the gym and see me hitting the pads, you'd hear it before you got in, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, he's hitting pads." But for where I was just sloppy, and then I was doing a few new things that I hadn't done for a couple of years, and I was like, "Fucking!" I just felt like I needed to put everything into it, And I was like, I haven't got the time to do this right now. So I don't know though, but I am thinking about doing that. But whether I'll fight, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do into gyms. I'll just walk into the gym, just go with the fights go, and I'll fight. But I don't know about hitting any fucking actual promotions or anything like that.
Yeah. See how you gotta know, innit? Like, even if you have the you know, get back in training, you feel good again and everything like that, then yeah, never say never, innit? Never say never.
Just getting to that age, mate, it's one of them. You know, I've never been one of them in picking who you fight, hence me fighting some of the people I thought that I shouldn't have. But at 37, mate, I could be fighting someone at like 25, some little roidhead who's not getting tested and end up getting pinged everywhere. Yeah. It's one of them. If I turned around and a promotion said look, we'll get someone around the same age bracket, you know, I wouldn't be too bothered.
Yeah, I feel you. I get you.
That's it, mate. That's it. Speaking of which, I just want to mention before we stop, Jacob Smith. I haven't spoken to him since, but he was going to come on the podcast after he fought on One Championship Fighting. He is unable to fight because I don't know if I only seen his post and I didn't want to go pecking his head and asking him about when he's going to be on and stuff or how he is. So I just left a little comment. But apparently Singapore aren't letting him in to go and do One Championship, something to do with COVID or something like that. I don't know the full story, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I was excited to see him fight Rod Tang this week. Unfortunately, he's not going to fight. So I just want to give a shout out to Jacob and just say, you know, your fight will come round, and when you do, you'll ping them everywhere. Because if you don't know Jacob Smith, go get him on Facebook, look him up on YouTube. There's a couple of documentaries on him. I wouldn't like to be hit by that lad. He's a heavy man. He hits like a train, mate. There's a couple of good fights there. And when you watch some of his Thai fights, he's coming through with blood all over his face and that. He fights through it. He's a warrior, mate. So
what weight class is he?
I think he's around lightweight.
Lightweight.
Don't question me on that, but don't quote me on that. I always say that, but you're obsessed with weight classes, and I'm just obsessed with blood and fights.
I don't know why. It's always the first thing I go to. Like, yeah, well, what weight classes is he?
Yeah, I've started doing it more and more, but
I get him on Facebook. Yeah, have a little watch and stuff. I'll be honest, like, yeah, that's pretty disheartening for him not being able to fight on the card. I mean, they obviously, if it's in regards to restrictions and all that, they would have already known about it. So it's a shame that, like, yeah.
Rod Tang, who he was fighting as his first fight in One Championship, is a monster, mate. And they've matched him up with Rod Tang because they know what Jacob Smith's about, mate. I've been watching him for years. I only met him once in passing, like, but I spoke to him a couple of times in the road to trying to get him on the podcast. So I'll probably speak to him in a week or two, see how he is, see what his plans are. But yeah, just shout out to Jacob, mate. Sorry that you're not going to be able to fight. It must be disheartening, man. Nothing worse than getting pulled, and it's not your fault. What else was there? There was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, before we go, I've heard Paddy the Baddy might be fighting a featherweight. Is that true?
I mean, when I spoke to my mate about it and stuff like that, I mentioned featherweight, pretty much similar to what we last spoke about, where you know, we were saying about the division of the lightweight division is going to be pretty tough, and obviously my mates were kind of joking about going back to featherweight and stuff, and they kind of was like too big for it. Like, struggled really badly making featherweight last time.
So he's not,
and he's been pretty. I don't think he is, but I have no idea. But I'll sure be able to find out, everyone, if you stay tuned for the next podcast. I will reveal.
Yeah, it was a friend who said it to me. I haven't seen it on the internet or not. It wasn't like an official. It was just a mate had said it to me that he was going back to featherweight. But
don't say the mate. I think he's too big.
People talk shit.
He's so open. But he's so open about it on his podcast that, like, the struggle with the mental side of it, with the whole dieting. You know, when he was featherweight, he was younger, like, and he just literally became older, started coming into his frame, and then he just couldn't do it. because he was fighting at featherweight to avoid Fishy, because Fishy was lightweight. But obviously, there's hardly any chance of them kind of meeting each other now. So yeah, that's why he's obviously a lightweight, and I think he's going to be sticking to lightweight. It'll be I cannot see him going back down to featherweight. He's too big. Don't think he'll be able to make the weight anymore.
Yeah, I know they're mates, but that'd be a good fight, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Fishy, to be honest. Obviously he lost his last fight against is it Gordon? Because I remember he trained with Paul Felder. Paul Felder was commentating that night, and he left his commentating booth to go and be a cornerman for the guy who beat Fishy. But Fishy.
This is Chris Fishgold for listeners, by the way.
Sorry, Chris Fishgold trains at Next Gen. Just didn't really seem like he was all there, to be quite honest. This is just my observation, guys. No inside story or anything like that. Just didn't look like he was there. Missed weight. If you know what he's capable of, he's a seriously good fighter. I mean, look back at each fight he's had. He's always in it. And that fight, he just wasn't there. Don't know what happened, but yeah, just mustn't be at a good place. Don't know what he's up to now. Don't know if he's had another fight scheduled, but I hope he's got his stuff sorted and he gets another fight.
I was speaking to my mate. He's been doing privates and that with him and stuff like that. I don't know how he's doing it because of all the restrictions, but I know he's been doing some work with him because he's looking to do some wrestling comps and he's trying to fight by the end of the year. Given COVID allows promotions to come back on that sort of level, but he said he seems in good spirits and that, and
that's good.
He said it's next level training, what he's doing at Fishy. He just said his knowledge base is unbelievable.
Which I agree with. I mean, we're talking black belt jiu-jitsu. Good striker. It's just solid. So again, that was my observation for his last fight. I just didn't really feel like he showed up. I mean, he was clearly going through something. Doesn't take a genius to work it out. Missed weight. Just didn't seem like he was really there. I don't know where his head was at, but it wasn't there. So I'm really hoping he gets his stuff sorted if he hasn't already, and performs well in his next one. And then the third one from Next Gen, Meatball Molly. I'm sure she's got a fight announced. I can't remember who it is, but I'm sure she's got a fight announced. I could be wrong.
She's been on a few things lately. She's been on a few things, different podcasts and stuff, hasn't she? So, I like Meatball Molly.
I do, mate. I remember watching her in the Echo, and so went to go watch her before she fought for the Cage Warriors title, and then when she fought for the Cage Warriors title, she was it was literally watching maybe watching Paddy. Almost just in regards to how many fans she had, she's really popular. And then she fought on the UFC Liverpool card. She fought a girl called Gillian Roberts. We kind of knew who Gillian Roberts was, to be honest. I kind of had a bit of a look at her and look at her record and stuff, and we knew it was going to be a tough fight. And she actually, she was doing good. The striking was really sharp, but Gillian Roberts, who's such a good wrestler, took her down, and then in the second round she submitted her rear naked choke. I don't even think Meatball Molly tapped. She just went to sleep. So absolute warrior, mate. Really like Meatball Molly. She always shows up for the fights, even in her losses, mate. She shows up.
Mate, and you know what? There's always this thing about the GOATs and stuff like that. I mean, Khabib is an exception. But again, a lot of fighters go on longer than 30 fights. You've got the argument of, do you know when to retire, or should you keep fighting or whatnot? But it's a rarity that people don't have losses.
Yeah.
It's a one-punch sport. People can submit you, kick your legs off, anything. There's just too many variables for you to be perfect every single fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with the losses as well, I think it's always good for a fighter to kind of have that experience of a loss, go back to the drawing board, learn from it, and come back from it.
Looking poorly,
You
eh?
know, yeah, no, there's no shame in it whatsoever. Like, but there's just fighters where kind of, if you use me for Molly as an example, the reason why I kind of mentioned that was that even in them losses, she shows up. So that was the point that I was making with Fishy in his last fight. Just yeah, he lost, but I didn't feel like he showed up for that fight at all. Just wasn't in the headspace. That was my observation. But me, Bob Molly, even in her losses, mate, she shows up. She tries to win. You can see how bad she wants it. I love that attitude in a fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Well, I think considering there's not much going on at the minute, we've covered all bases here tonight, mate. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, mate. No, I think we've, yeah, as you said, we covered our bases. Spoke about local fighters again, which is really good. Obviously, yeah, I feel sorry for your mate that was meant to be fighting on ONE FC. Especially, by the way, with it being such a high-profile card. I mean, it's Demetrius Johnson. So it's a big fight card to be honest, isn't it? Yeah.
I'd read his posts, but I don't want to get it wrong by regurgitating it. No, I haven't read it in front of me like 5 minutes ago. It was something to do with Singapore and them not letting him in because he was coming from the UK and with our rates of infection. That is what I think it was. He put this post up and he sounded a bit disheartened about it. So I just put a comment on it just saying, chin up, mate, because it's not worse. It's not worse. And it's like a couple of days out from the fight that he's having to deal with that. Like, so.
Can I just say one little thing? Is I found it a little bit surprising because ONE FC are so kind of on top of it. Like, just as an organisation, you hear loads of good stuff about them, with the weight cutting and everything. Just with all the issues that a lot of other organisations have, they're really on points. And the fact that with that one, where obviously we know that there is COVID restrictions for obviously UK fighters, which is why UFC have Fight Island. I'm shocked that it's now become an issue now. As you said, though, obviously,
I think it's more to do with the government letting people in than it is to do with ONE FC having anything to do with it. I think ONE FC had let them fight irrelevant, but I don't know. Again, I'll have to go back and read his post, but I was quite psyched to see that. Like, to be honest with you, if you look up Rod Tango, he was meant to fight. He's running around just punching himself, fighting with no guard, sticking his chin out and that. He's this crazy dude, man, and he's good. So it would have been an awesome fight, like. So, shit happens.
Good for him.
Yeah, man. But we'll call it a day there, mate. Anybody who's watching, make sure you like and subscribe. OneWayFighting.com as well. We're putting out articles every day. Website's still got a few touches it needs doing to it, so just excuse that for now. And we will have the new clothing range up soon. Just waiting for some of the factories and stuff to open back up in order to get our brand out, which will be Full Guard MMA. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And yeah, have a good day. And we'll see you next week. Enjoy, guys.
Good day to everyone.